Hi everyone. Before video, I talk about data, what is clustering, and the techniques in clusterings and the distance-based algorithm and more. Now, here I'm going to data types studied in clustering analysis. A specific data type has a tremendous impact on the particular choice of the clustering algorithm. Most of the earliest clustering algorithms were designed under the implicit assumption that the data attributes were numerical. However, this is not true in most real scenarios where the data could be drawn from any number of possible types, such as discrete, temporal, or structural. This section discusses the impact of the data types on the clustering process. The brief overview of the different types is provided in the section. First, clustering categorical data. Categorical data is fairly common in real data sets. This is because many attributes in real data, such as sex, race, or zip code, are inherently discrete and do not take on a natural ordering. In many cases, the data sets may be mixed in with some attributes such as salary or numerical, whereas other attributes such as sex or zip code are categories. A special form of categorical data is market-based data in which all attributes are binary. And the algorithms depends upon the use of a similarity or distance function. The distance LK matrix can no longer be used. New similarity measures need to be defined for categorical data. A discussion of similarity measures for categorical data is provided. Many clustering algorithms such as k-means or k-medians methods construct clustering representative as the means or medians of the data points in the clusters. In many cases, statistics such as mean or median are naturally defined for numerical data but need to be appropriately modified for discrete data. When the data is mixed, then the problem becomes more difficult because the different attributes now need to be treated in heterogeneous way. And the similarity functions need to explicitly account for the underlying heterogeneity. It should be noted that some models of clustering are more amenable to different types of than others. For example, some models are depend only on the distance or similarity function between records. Therefore, as long as an appropriate similarity function can be defined between records, cluster analysis method can be used effectively. Spectral clustering is one class of methods which can be used with virtually any data types as long as appropriate similarity functions are defined. The downside is that the methods scale with the square of similarity matrices. Generative models can also be generalized easily to different data types as long as appropriate generative model can be defined for each component of the mixture. Some common categorical data clustering include cactus, rock, still, and limbo. This is clustering in categorical data. Clustering text data. Next is clustering text data. Text data is particularly common form of data with the increasing popularity of the web and the social network. Text data is typically represented in vector space format, in which a specific ordering is abstracted out, and the data is therefore treated as bag of words. It should be noted that the methods of clustering text data can also be used for clustering set-based attributes. Text data has a number of properties which should be taken into consideration. The data is extremely high dimensional and sparse. This corresponds to the fact that the text lexicon is rather large, but each document contains only a small number of words, as most attributes taken on zero values. The attribute values correspond to word frequencies and are therefore typically non-negative. This is important from the perspective of many clustering and matrix factorization, which leverage with this non-nativity. The earliest methods for test clustering, such as the scatter-gather method, use distance-based methods. Especially, a combination of k-means and agglomerative methods is used for the clustering process. Subsequently, the problem of test clustering has often been explored in the context of topic modeling. A soft membership matrix of words and documents to clusters is created. The EM framework is used in conjunction with these methods. Two common methods used for generative topic modeling are VLSI and DLDE. These methods can be considered as soft version of methods such as co-clustering and matrix factorization, which clusters the rows and columns together at the same time. Spectral methods are often used to perform this partitioning by creating a biperiod similarity graph, which represents the membership relations of the rows and columns. This is not particularly surprising since matrix factorization methods and spectral clustering are known to be closely related. Surveys on test clustering may be found in recent years. The popularity of social media has also led to a increasing importance of short text documents. For example, the post and tweets in social media websites are constrained in length both by the platform and by user preference. Therefore, specialized methods have also been proposed recently for performing the clustering cases where the documents are relatively short. This is clustering text data. Next, clustering multimedia. Clustering multimedia. With the increasing popularity of social media, many forms of multimedia data may be used in conjunction with the clustering method. These include image data, audio, and video. Examples of social media sites which contain large amounts of such data are Flickr and YouTube. Even the web and conventional social networks typically contain a significant amount of multimedia data of different types. In many cases, such data may occur in conjunction with other more conventional form of text data. The clustering of multimedia is often a challenging task because of the varying and heterogeneous nature of the underlying content. In many cases, the data may be multimodal or it may be contextual, containing both behavioral and contextual attributes. For example, image data are typically contextual because the temporal ordering of the data records provides the necessary information for understanding the heterogeneity and contextual nature of the data can only be addressed with proper representation and analysis. In fact, data representation seems to be key issue in all forms of multimedia analysis, which significantly implements the final quality of results. Clustering time series data. Now we are going to clustering time series data. Time series data is quite common in all forms of sensor data, stock markets, or any other kinds of temporal tracking or forecasting application. The major aspect of time series is that the data values are not independent of one another, but they vary temporal tracking of forecasting application. The major aspect of time series is that the data values are not independent of one another, but they are temporally dependent on one another. Especially, the data contain a contextual attribute, time, and a behavioral attribute. There is a significant diversity in problem definition in the time series scenario. The time series data can be clustered in a variety of different ways depending upon whether correlation-based online analysis is required or shape-based offline analysis are required. In correlation-based online analysis, the correlation among the different time series data streams are tracked over time in order to create online clusters. Such methods are often useful for sensor selection and forecasting, especially when streams exhibit lag correlation with a clustered pattern. These methods are often used in stock market applications where it is desirable to maintain group of clustered stock requests in an online manner based on their correlation pattern. Thus, the distance function between different series need to be computed continuously based on their mutual recursion coefficient. Some examples of these methods include the Mussel's approach and a large-scale time series correlation pointing method. In shape-based offline analysis, the time series objects are analyzed in offline manner, and the specific details about when a particular time series was created is not important. For example, for a set of ECG time series collected from presence, the precise time of when a series was collected is not important, but the overall shape of the series is important for the purpose of clustering. In such a case, the distance function between two time series is important. This is important because the different time series may not be drawn on the same range of data values and may also show time wrapping effects, in which the shapes can be matched only by elongating or shrinking portions of the time series in the temporal direction. As in the previous case, the design of the distance function holds the key to the effective use of the approach. A particular interesting case is that multivariate time series in which many series are simultaneously produced over time. A classical example of this is trajectory data, in which the different coordinate direction from the different components of the multivariate series. Therefore, trajectory analysis can be viewed as a special kind of time series clustering. As in the case of univariate time series, it is possible to perform these steps using either online analysis or offline analysis. An example of the former is discussed in whereas an example of this latter discussion. Okay, thank you. We will see clustering in discrete in next video. And thank you. Thank you.